मैं हूं सलमा जदावजी on Salaam Namaste Canada on Chakti TV. उम्मीद है आपका हफ्ता अच्छा गुजरा होगा, हमारा भी बहुत अच्छा हफ्ता गुजरा। आज हस्बे मामूल हम आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर हैं और आज हमारे साथ अकबर हेराव नहीं हैं, वो किसी इमरजेंसी की वजह से नहीं आ सकें, लेकिन आपको जैसे कि मालूम है जलाल आडिक हमारे साथ हैं और हमारे साथ एक बहुत ही हुनरमंद गेस्ट भी शामिल हैं। आज की जो हमारी बातचीत होगी वो ज़्यादातर अंग्रेज़ी में होगी, हम बीच बीच में आपसे कुछ उर्दू में बातें करते रहेंगे। तो सबसे पहले हम आपको मिलवाते हैं जलाल से, उसके बाद हम हमारे गेस्ट हैं जिनका नाम है अलीम नासर। तो जलाल कैसे हैं?
सलमा जी आप कैसी हैं?
मैं बिल्कुल
भाई मेरी तरफ से भी आप सबको सलाम नमस्ते, सत श्री अकाल, आदाब, यानी मदद जी। हमारा हफ्ता आ गया, यानी ऑफ कोर्स हमारा प्रोग्राम भी आ गया और आई जस्ट वांट टू से कपल ऑफ थिंग्स बिफोर वी स्टार्ट। एक तो सबसे पहले है कि जब भी हमारा ये प्रोग्राम यानी कि जो है टीवी पे आएगा उस वक्त तक हमारी जो है कैलगरी फ्लेम्स दे मेड द प्ले ऑफ, उन्होंने प्ले ऑफ में होंगी और होपफुली टोरंटो विल मेक इट एज वेल। अभी जो बाकी गेम्स बाकी इंशाल्लाह वो भी यानी पहुंच जाएंगी। लास्ट से कोई भी कैनेडियन टीम नहीं थी, इस बार होपफुली वी आर होपिंग फॉर 5 और मिनिमम 4, तो बहुत अच्छी साइन है। एग्जैक्टली। और सेकंड थिंग कि यानी आपको सबको पता है कि आज जस्ट वांट टू टेक एडवांटेज ऑफ दिस प्रोग्राम कि हमारी कल एनिवर्सरी थी, तो सैकड़ों में हमें मैसेजेस आए, तो मेरी तरफ से आप सबको
बहुत आपकी हैप्पी एनिवर्सरी विश करते हैं।
जी।
उम्मीद है कि आप हमेशा खुश रहें और बहुत सारी एनिवर्सरी आपको,
यानी बहुत सारी बीवियां मिले, ऐसे आप करना है ऐसा
बीवियों की विश नहीं करना।
तो मेरी तरफ से भी अपना जिन्होंने मुझे भेजे मैसेज, आपको बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपकी दुआओं का, प्रेयर्स का, जो है अपना जो है गुड विशेस का बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
तो हम अपने
यस प्लीज, यस कांट वेट।
तो हम इन्हीं के मुंह से सुनेंगे कि हु इज अलीम नासर। सो अलीम, welcome to our show.
Thank
it's
you.
very nice of you to accept our invitation. It would be nice to know all about you and
Sure.
what do you do. So tell us, who is Aleem Nasser?
Oh boy. I thought the questions were going to be easy.
Yeah, no, this is the first question.
This is the hardest question.
Our audience has to know who is Aleem Nasser first.
Who is this good-looking guy?
Oh boy. Okay. So who am I? That's a good question. I think actually just a regular person. I think I've always just been motivated, I like to look at situations, and I like to kind of find out like why are some people successful and why people are not successful. And I think growing up, I always had that, I always had that mentality of, if you work hard, then you'll end up achieving your goals. And most of us grew up with that, and we've heard that most of our lives, right?
Of course, yeah.
And I actually found that's not always true.
Yeah, it's not true.
So I would say that it's not true if that's all you do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's almost like it's part of the equation to be successful. So after spending a lot of time and working just hard, just doing a whole bunch of stuff, I realized that there's another part of the equation, and that other part of the equation a lot of people don't know, and so they try so hard and they attempt things, and and then they fail, and then they give up, and they don't think they're smart enough, and then it just gets ugly.
So my question is, at what point and when did you discover like what you do is making a difference in people's lives?
I think the best way to answer that is to say that it actually, when I kind of figured out a few things, it actually changed my life dramatically. And so after it changed my life, after I figured out these things that changed my life, then I started seeing people repeat the same mistakes
That you were
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they were following the advice that I was given and a whole bunch of other people were given. And then I would say, okay, you know what, like I know this sounds weird, and I know that maybe it doesn't make any sense, but just try that thing instead. Like do something different. And then they would succeed.
Oh,
and
okay.
they would be like, well, what happened here? So a lot of it was counterintuitive, not things that come to people in an intuitive way. But after you kind of do these things for a while, you start seeing trends and patterns and things like that.
So that was your turning point. Like you learned from your failures and mistakes, and so that you made other people aware of it.
Yeah, but so I mean, let's get into specifics. Let's get to the good. So I had massive failures. So I remember the biggest point, one of the biggest points in my life was when I was in university. Well, when I was in high school, I didn't even get a 70% average. I had like less than 70%.
Okay.
And so I couldn't get into, I applied to Mount Royal at that time as a college,
Yeah.
Mount Royal College. So I didn't even have the grades to get in. And so I didn't know what I was going to do, but you know, sometimes when you try hard and you know, the stars align and everything,
Yeah,
you get in. So I got accepted to University of Calgary,
Nice.
but last priority. You know, so I would
Yeah.
sign in, and then next week classes start.
Okay.
Right? So enough. You know, I was glad that I got in. So I got in, and then I started telling myself, you know, like I'm very fortunate that I got in. I'm very lucky. So I don't want to lose this chance because you know most people would never
Yeah,
even get in.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then the problem was though that, well, so what I did was I did what everybody else did. So I started to work hard. I mean, I had some fun and I had social life and stuff like that too. Played sports and all that, and then I started to work hard, and I didn't do well. And I would look at other people and they weren't working as hard as me and they would do a lot better than me. So then I said, oh, okay, well, maybe I need to work harder. So then I would put in more time, more effort, and I remember I gave up sports, I gave up, I had a part-time job, I gave that up. I said, okay, because if I need to do well in school, I have to be, you know, one of the hardest working people I know, because I knew that things didn't come very easy to me. So I worked really hard, and my grades actually went down.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really interesting. So then I said, what's going on here? So then I started talking to like my guidance counselor, I started talking to like other professors, and they didn't really give me too much advice. All they basically told me was that, you know, you're too hard on yourself and you got to relax a little bit. And, you know, I'm facing getting kicked out of school, and it's very hard to relax when you're about to get kicked out. But what ended up happening was it was really interesting, and my sister, if she's watching, she'll know, but she had a book in her room, and it was a Tony Robbins book.
Okay.
And so I had no choice. All the advice I'm getting wasn't helping me, and I'm burning out, and I'm exhausted, and I didn't know what I was doing.
Under stress.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and then what makes it worse, you get these people in your class.
Yeah.
They go to the bars, they don't come to class,
Yeah.
and then they beat you on the test.
That's right. Yeah.
So you're like, what is going on, right? So then I read this book, and this book just
Like what kind of book was it?
it's a personal development book, and the name of the book is called Awaken the Giant Within.
Yeah, because our audience should know if there's
Yes.
somebody's going through
Yes.
that.
Yeah. So the name of the book is Awaken the Giant Within with Tony Robbins.
Okay.
And so I just read it. My sister got it as a gift, and I said, okay, let me just read it. I started reading it, and it changed everything. So then what ended up happening was I learned a little bit how the mind works. I learned a few things. And so that kind of got me a little bit better. But then I started studying more things. Then I started studying, you know, people. Then I started talking to the really smart students, and I would analyze them and I would research them. And the things that I found were like really, really surprising. So, and I'll tell you what they were. But then what ended up happening was I got myself off of academic probation, and I wanted to get into the faculty of management. And faculty of management, I needed I think at that time a 3.75, and I had like a 1 point something, like 1.9 or something. So I went, and I spoke to my counselor, and I said, you know, what do you think? So she looks at me and she goes, look, your high school grades are under 70%. You're on academic probation. Do you really think you're going to be able to get in? So I said, no, that's why I'm here, so maybe you can help me.
That's right.
And she goes, I can't help you. She goes, maybe you should just get a degree and just leave the university, because maybe you're not meant for this. So that actually was a turning point. So I said, look, you know, no one really can help me, so I need to figure this out myself.
By yourself, yeah.
So then that's what happened. So I read that book, I started studying people and all that stuff. I started just trying to get as much knowledge as I could. And then my final year, I ended up getting into the Faculty of Commerce.
Okay.
And so I got that GPA. Then I ended up getting another degree in Bachelor of Arts.
So that means whatever you were doing was helping you.
Yes, because I started to understand how what the skill was that these smart people had, and it wasn't really hard work.
No.
And so then what ended up happening was then I went to McGill University for a year, and I was blown away because at McGill University, you know, it's supposed to be one of the most challenging schools and very, only the select students can get in.
Yeah.
And I got a 4.0 GPA there.
Okay.
Wow.
So huge turning point. And then I ended up doing my master's degree. I did I did a master of business administration. I graduated with pretty much a 90% in all my classes. And so from then things started to change. I got
Good
some good
for
job
you.
And then
offers.
I know that you wrote a book also.
Yes.
So those were all your experiences and all your whatever you made you successful that you started.
Yeah, so that book is actually quite interesting too,
Yeah.
because what ended up happening was I started learning so much, and I started, I started analyzing myself, and I started looking at all the mistakes I used to make and all my failures. And so what I did was I kept a journal, and
Yeah, I was going to
right,
say, yeah.
and so this journal was actually a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So I would just write down all my challenges and all the things that I screwed up on and all the failures, and it was a very long, long list. And I looked at all my things that I was doing right. At that time, it was a very short list.
Yeah.
So then one by one, I just started looking at, so I would study for a test, but before I studied, I would say, okay, what have I done wrong in previous tests? Then I would see all the things I did wrong, and then I would not do those things. And just not doing those things would help me.
Yeah, yeah.
So then eventually that list changed. Then the list of my things that I was doing wrong, they ended up getting a little bit smaller, and things I was doing right got harder.
Right,
and then
right.
so I took all that information, and then I compiled it into the book. And that's how I wrote the book.
Right.
So the information was already there.
Yeah.
I just had to organize
You
it
just
in a
have to
way
look
which-
for it, yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
So Aleem, most of us, we have a kind of our schedule set. We wake up in the morning, go to work, drive to work, come back home, dinner, and do so, watch TV a little bit and go to sleep.
Yeah.
But when you were in the middle, what did you discover? What were you doing wrong? And plus,
What is that, Miguel?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
because it made a difference to you.
Okay.
And plus, because I think, we are so kind of in our molding, like a set. We
Yeah.
don't want to we don't want to change our schedule of the day or pattern of the day.
Yeah.
Because maybe we have fear.
Yeah.
Like if I change something, then I might lose this,
Yeah.
and plus I'm gonna complain on the top. Oh, I'm not getting anything. I'm not.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not moving forward. I'm not getting promotion because they say, like if you do the same thing every day,
Yeah.
it won't make any difference in your life unless you change something.
Yeah.
So then, what did you change in McGill?
So, one of the most interesting things is that I guess this is where I was a little bit different from some people, is that I'm always, I have a natural curiosity. Like I always want to improve. I always want to take something and I want to make it better. Just the way I am. I've always been like that. So, what I do is I look at a situation. And my mind is naturally thinking, like, okay, how can I make that better? What can I do? Okay, so that's a natural thing that I discovered that I had. But to answer your question, I think the key is you want to look at your current situation and you want to ask yourself, project your life in the future. If you're the kind of individual, and let's say you're very happy with the way things are, then honestly, I don't know why you'd want to change, right? Because happiness is really why we do a lot of things, right?
Exactly.
But let's say if you're not happy, right? What I would do is I would actually, project, and I would say, okay, well, what happens if I continue this lifestyle in the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and before you know it, 10 years is going to come by.
Yeah.
So if you can, it's going to sound weird when I say this, but if you can actually create the pain and the discomfort now,
Yeah.
so you don't experience it 10 years from now,
True.
and you can actually live that pain that you're going to experience 10 years from now or 25 years from now and just feel what that would feel like, that's a lot better to feel it now than when you're actually doing it, right? So that's one of the things I would do. In fact, one of our exercises I teach, so funny story, but I didn't get into Mount Royal College as a student, but I got in as an instructor. So I always tell my students, I never had the grades to make it as a student, but now they pay me to teach students, how to do it. So it's kind of a funny story. So that's actually one of our exercises. I tell my students, I'm like, why are you here? And a lot of them are like, well, I'm here because it's the right age for me and this is the right time of my life, so I have to be here. So we actually project. So we do this exercise. And I go, what's your ideal life in 25 years? Very few people know.
Yes.
But I'm like, okay, so dream big. Like, what would you like it to be? And then they think about it, they work at it, and then we go back in time. So in 15 years, then where do you have to be? In 10 years, where do you have to be? And my students have said that's actually one of the most powerful exercises because it forces them to see that if they don't do anything now, they won't even be close to where they want to be.
Exactly.
Right?
So we have to dream big.
You must.
You must. Otherwise, you wanna go somewhere. You have to dream big.
Yeah,
No
you
doubt.
must. You must. And in fact, sometimes people say that, dream big, and then they don't believe it's possible, and so they don't dream big. So what they say is, don't dream big, because if you dream big and it doesn't happen, you'll be miserable.
I don't think that way.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. See,
no.
but some people are. Some people do think that way.
Yeah.
Most people
Yeah.
think that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why they are not happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way I look at it is, like, if you're dreaming big, and so I don't think it's the dream that's the problem. I think it's how they view themselves is the problem.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right? So if they dream big and they don't succeed, then their mindset is such that, oh, I'm not capable, or I can't do it, and that's reinforced.
You know,
Reinforcing.
with dreaming big, that's what I think is that you have to work hard also.
Yes.
It's not that you just keep dreaming big and then
But
you're
then-
just sitting and
then
not
you'll get
doing
it, yeah.
anything
Yeah,
with
yeah.
your life. It won't
Yeah.
work.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have to dream big, you have to work hard, but you have to do a few other things
Few
too.
other things.
So remember, we talked a little bit
Yeah.
about in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I discovered, and I actually ended up creating this formula. I call this formula the equation for success.
That's right.
And you probably read it in the bio, right, that I gave you and stuff. So basically, the way we look at it is, look, if you're going to work hard at something, that's a necessity. But a lot of people work hard, but they're not doing the right things. So what they do is what maybe somebody else has told them to do, or they do what they think they need to do, but they don't know for sure if that's the thing that'll get them there. So they need to actually do some research and figure out what's going on
They're
here.
missing
right?
research. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So sometimes they don't research.
So how long you have been like I have come to know about you that you have been instructing lots of different corporations and people, and so when did you decide to do that, and you thought that you would be beneficial for so many people you are helping?
Like, when did I have the idea to do this?
Yeah.
I had the idea when I used to be a management consultant.
Okay.
And I realized that I'm somebody who, when I'm given a task, I always like to make it better. So I like to play around with it. I like to fine tune it. But as you know, when you're working for someone,
Yeah.
it doesn't always pan out because
Yeah.
they need results right away, and a
Right,
lot of
right,
people are
yeah,
depending on
true.
you. So when I was given a task, I always felt like, I could do better at this, or there's a more effective way, a more efficient way to do this. And they were like, no, this is the way you need to do it, and that's it. So I didn't, and it's not the company's fault, right? Because they have to meet their results, right? So I felt like, I'm not able to be creative and innovative and come up with unique ways of doing things. And I realized that's what one of my passions is. How do you come up with an innovative way of being more efficient, more productive, and achieving your goal much faster? And I always was trying to do that, but I wasn't allowed in a corporation. So I was feeling a lot of stress and anxiety, and I wasn't having fun. And so I had these, I was blessed with some good job opportunities, and I walked away. Yeah, and people thought I was nuts. Like I was living in Vancouver on Robson Street.
Yeah.
And I had a maid that would come in and make my room twice a week, and then
Wow.
on weekends I would go and I'd play beach volleyball because I was like 5 minutes away from English Bay, and I gave it all up, and I came home, and I helped my parents with their business,
Wow.
and best decision I ever made because that time with the business allowed me not only have a good relationship with my parents, but it gave me time to think,
Yeah.
formulate what was going on in my head, how to come up with ideas.
Yeah.
And then that's how I started. That's how I took all my notes and I wrote my book and
Wow.
stuff.
So you're, I'm just going to say you're comfortable, you're okay, you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to give me a massage, I would.
And you're not working, you're not going to sleep.
Like, your maid is not here yet.
That's true. That's true.
That's so interesting. So, I think like when you say you have time to think, that's another reason like a lot of people fail. Because with the pattern of life they're having, as Chilal was saying, you get up, you do this, and you don't sit and think, and that is really important. And as you said, that gave you time to think what you really wanted, where your life you wanted to go. So tell us something like then, once you came back and then you started helping your parents with the business and you had time to think, and then what did you do after that?
So a lot of times people would say, I want to pursue this, I want to pursue that, but I can't because I have bills to pay and stuff. So it's a very common thing that people go through. So I had the same excuse. So what I would do is I pretty much had no life for about a year and a half. I would go to my parents' office, I would do what they asked me to do, and then luckily the office was near the university. So at around 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock when I was done my work, I would go to university and I would write. So I'd write for about 3-4 hours and just write. And I was lucky enough because I had already some of the content based on that journal. So I would write and write and write. And then I originally thought I was going to do like a 40-page document, but it ended up being like a 200-page book. So that's how I ended up doing that. And so and the whole concept about thinking, so most people think that it's important to think, and I agree. It's very important to think. It's very important to have that time to reflect. Very, very important. But there's also something called analysis paralysis.
Okay.
So that's overthinking.
Okay.
So I'm very good at overthinking too.
Okay.
So I have to actually learn to think less sometimes. So anything that you do at an extreme level is actually not good for you. So if you don't think at all, you could get yourself into trouble without coming on stuff, right?
Yeah.
If you think too much, you'll just sit at home and just think of all the problems and all the challenges in your life and never do anything. Because our whole life is full of challenges.
Full of, no doubt, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to think the right amount, but more than that, you have to think the right way.
Right, exactly.
So you have to actually learn to guide your thoughts. You actually have to harness your thoughts. Most people in class, we talk about what's the most valuable thing, time or money? So most the smart students, they're like, obviously time is more important. I said, why? So well, because you can always get money back. If you lose money, you can always make it back. So and if you lose time, you can never get it back.
Never get it. Yeah.
But if you think better, and if you have the right mindset, that's actually more valuable than time. Because if you think better, you can actually free up your time.
Yes.
And make even more money.
You have to manage your time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah.
So a few years back, when I used to work for like city of Calgary.
Yeah.
So we attended one of the seminars. So I want to take your points on it. What was the seminar was about? Let's say of course our day is full of challenges.
Yeah.
There are bad things, good things. So the one who was giving speech, she said. So you just write down, whatever the good thing happened in your one day or 1 week or 1 month. Write it down, all the good things. And when you are having a bad day, which is not normal, of course we're going to have a bad day here and there. So when you are having a bad day, so then you go back to your journal and you read the good things. It will cheer you up. It will give you more energy. And about the planning, she said, let's say if you have a goal. Let's say if you want to if you want your son to play for let's say NHL or if he or she wants to go to any university or something. Okay, so you plan everything now. Okay, this month I'm gonna do this. This month I'm gonna save this much. This month I'm gonna do education funds or whatever. Then you go with your plan, and then you'll see your result. What's going to happen after 5 years or 10 years down the road. What do you think about this theory?
So 2 theories, right?
2 theories, yeah.
One was writing them down.
Good things, yeah.
So I think that's brilliant. In fact, why stop at 1? I think every day you should commit to at least 5.
Yes.
Right? And so, and it makes a big difference because again, one of the things in terms of our mind, most people are not aware because the mind hasn't been studied that much. But if you think of your mind like a muscle, things start to make sense. So just like a muscle, you go to the gym, you give it stimulus, and eventually, so you give it stimulus, you let it rest, stimulus, rest, and you do it for a long period of time, the muscle starts to grow and develop and all that. Right? So the mind is the same way. But instead of giving it weight, you want to give it the right thoughts. You want to give it the right focus. You want to give it the right things to concentrate on.
True.
So every day, if you write down 5 things that worked out well for you, what are you doing? You're getting your mind to concentrate on what's going well in your life.
Yes,
And then
yeah.
eventually your mind gets used to only focusing on the good things that are
things,
going on.
yeah.
And that's how you develop optimism. That's how you actually how you can defeat some mental health problems.
True,
Right?
very
That's
true.
how you can defeat depression. Right? You just have to train your mind.
Do you ever called by these institutions of mental health to talk to the depressed people, or have you ever been called for that?
I've never actually been called.
No.
Talk to them, because some of my jokes are so bad, so they probably feel worse after they listen to my jokes. So they probably get more depressed. But no, I've never actually been there. But you know, when I teach at the university and stuff, there's a lot of mental health issues. So they're not officially considered depressed or something like that. But I mean, if you look at the the stats today and the books today, all the research shows that there's the university is creating so many more jobs for mental health professionals because of the mental health challenges. So I deal with mental health problems all the time, but the students are just classified as students, but they have a lot of challenges, and a lot of them have depression, overwhelm, stress, anxiety, fear, doubt. So that's consistent.
So for our audience, how do they find out about what do you do and how they can approach you and how they contact you?
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So best thing is that they can email me. So the name of my company is The Art of Being Smart.
The art of being smart.
So if you just go into the website, if you just go contact us at theartofbeingsmart.com, that's my email address. So you can just email me. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to give your viewers a gift. So what I've done is I've actually created a link where they can go to the link and they can download a book on how to increase your motivation. Motivation level.
So they can use the same email,
link.
like whatever.
Well, they could do it, but the best way to do it is just go to theartofbeingsmart.com,
Okay.
and then just after you hit .com,
Slash.
it's called motivation. Motivation ebook, and that's it.
Motivation ebook.
Yeah.
Wow.
So artofbeingsmart.com motivation ebook. I think you have to put a hyphen in or a slash in there. But yeah, so it's all one word, motivation ebook, one word. You go in there, type in your email address, and then you get, I think it's a 14-page document on how to increase your motivation level.
Yeah, so
Oh,
they
wow.
can directly go and read on it and implement on it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of strategies and things that you can
Nice.
start doing right away. So I thought it might be good for your users.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Do you like Bollywood movies? Let's talk some.
The question you're asking him, what he was talking to us, and now you went to.
No, because I have a question from the Bollywood movie.
Okay, so this is going to be a fun conversation. Okay, ask me what you want.
No, because yesterday I watched the Dear Zindagi. Finally I watched the Dear Zindagi movie.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question because
See?
I watched it, and there is something what we were talking about.
Yeah.
This movie is all about that.
Is all about.
Okay,
Anyways,
I haven't seen the
okay,
movie.
so Shah Rukh Khan,
No,
of course,
yeah.
Shah Rukh Khan,
Yeah.
my favorite. Actually, everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
So he, of course, he was teaching. What's her name? Alia Bhatt.
She's a Bollywood.
Oh, I saw this movie.
Yeah.
Saw this?
A part of it. Yeah,
Okay, so
didn't finish it.
Okay, so you.
Not happy.
She has
With her life,
Yeah.
And
So
then
you,
she goes
she's
to the psychiatrist who
Yeah.
is Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan.
Yeah.
So Shah Rukh Khan says, if you want to achieve something in your life, so there are two pathways. One hard, one easy.
Yeah.
And the hard way is always sometimes like most of the time is very fast. So because our life is so busy, we are so fast, so we want to get our result fast.
Okay.
So we take the the path, the one is very difficult. That's where we get in trouble.
Okay.
Other way is easy way. It might take a longer, but you'll be happy. You'll have a more freedom. What do you think?
No, look, he's not got a question right.
Yeah. It's not about Bollywood all the time.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I actually. Lots of people didn't like that movie.
Yeah.
Because.
But I loved it.
Because people found it boring.
Yeah.
But if you really go into the deep,
Yes.
what they were trying to showcase, and I think lots of people are facing what Alia Bhatt was facing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
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 They don't voice it, but you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the movie is all about.
Mm.
So how much did you see? A quarter of it or half of it or what?
So I don't watch too many Bollywood movies.
Yeah, I know.
I like the dancing.
Yeah.
The dancing is good. Music is good.
But Alia Bhatt is pretty.
Yeah, yeah. If
So- so what do you
if she
think
called
about
me
it?
up and wanted to go for a date, I wouldn't say no.
No, of course.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no. Yeah.
In the line. Okay. So
Yeah.
what do you think?
About this
Yeah.
way of.
So
Yeah,
should
so-
we go, with the hard way,
Mm.
the where of course, we know there's going to be more problems
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
than the other way.
So here's the. Oh, go ahead, I'll let you.
Yeah. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, so it's interesting you say hard and hard and easy.
Yeah.
I actually look at it different way. I look at it,
Mhm.
and I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
are you talking about doing something with an what's the word I'm looking for? Where people just want a result right away, instantaneous
That's
result.
right. Exactly.
Okay, so
exactly,
you're
yeah.
looking at in terms of doing it the hard way, but doing it correctly,
Yeah.
versus just for the immediate result,
Exactly.
and to get
yeah.
there
Yeah.
faster.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so we're on the right page?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So here's what's interesting is that as our youth come, like they get older,
Mhm.
they're used to instant gratification.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? So they're used to it. They're not
Right.
they're not aware of what it means to actually be patient,
Mm.
what it means to have a long-term view.
Right.
And so and it's not their fault. Why? Look at social media, they get
Yeah.
email
Yes.
right away,
Yes.
everything
Everything. So
instantaneous,
quick,
right?
Mm.
So what's happened is a lot of them, because of this instant gratification thing, if things don't go well right away, they get impatient.
Exactly.
Right.
And there was Alia Bhatt. Exactly same thing. Yeah.
So, on the other hand, and that's why I feel very fortunate because I think I was born at the right time because my parents instilled, hard work and
Yeah.
long-term planning and stuff like that. But on the other hand, if you, let's say, want something really badly and you really believe in it, then if you have a long-term view and you plan through it
Yeah.
and you don't cut corners,
Yeah.
and you just do the right thing on a consistent basis,
Mm.
you may not see a result
Yes.
right away. It may not even take you a year or two.
Yeah.
But if you just keep doing it, a natural law of the universe is eventually you'll get what you want.
Mm.
And when you get it, it'll be done on a good, solid foundation.
Mm.
And right now what's happening is a lot of people are just going for the quick result without
Yeah.
a foundation.
Without exactly.
And
Yeah, exactly.
crumbles.
So it crumbles.
Yeah.
So, and it happens in many areas. Like, let's look at relationship. And the movie
Yeah.
has to do with relationships,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So, I remember in the beginning, some guy liked her, and she said no to him, and then
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
and then after she said no to him, then she liked him after.
Yeah.
And then, but he was already married. Right?
That's right,
So,
yeah.
right. So, so I think I watched enough. I
Yeah,
figured that out.
good
So-
job.
Yeah. So what happened was I don't think there was a good foundation in there because maybe it was just
Yeah.
immediate result, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so I think the key to do it is to actually nourish that friendship, right? So,
Yeah.
and a friendship takes a long time. You got to develop the trust, develop the friendship, develop the
It's understanding.
understanding, compassion for each other.
Yeah.
That's all the hard work.
Yeah, that's the hard work.
right. That's the hard work, but that's the long-term foundation, you're
Foundation
building,
for the good result.
right?
Yeah.
And forgiveness, right?
Exactly.
And helping people, supporting them. All these things are hard work, but there's solid foundation.
Yeah.
You have that there, then if you want to have a relationship, it's rock solid,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Most of what's going on right now, you see it on TV, that solid foundation isn't there.
Isn't there anymore.
And so
Yeah, that's
we're
right.
in a relationship, and I love you,
And that's,
and then when something goes wrong, guess what? Boom,
yeah.
crumbles.
Crumbles.
And I'm not a relationship expert, so this is just my take on it.
Yeah, you should work
And
for
I-
a marriage company or something.
Well, I'm single, so how much do I know?
We speak Urdu and English both. So
It's an interesting experience for me because I actually don't speak Urdu.
Yeah, that's
So I can
right.
hear things like blah, 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 Aleem Nasser, and then blah, blah, blah.
But you don't understand at all.
A couple of words,
Yeah.
a couple of words.
But not really.
Yeah, not too much, not too much, yeah.
Yeah. So right now, what are you doing at present time? What's happening with your life and what
Yeah.
you are involved with?
So I teach at Mount Royal University.
Mm, nice.
Yeah, it's actually a lot of passion. I love it. You get these students coming in, and you can see they're scared because some of them are first year. They're scared. They're nervous. They don't know what's going on. By the end of the semester, they're laughing. Their grades have gone up. They're having a great time. So I enjoy
What a
that.
gratification, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's really good. But Now I'm actually starting to work. So some of those things, a lot of those things that I teach, they're very transferable.
Okay.
So what I actually am doing now is I actually work with corporations too.
Okay.
So I actually was asked to work at the Royal Bank of Canada
Nice.
a while ago. Yeah, and it was a great opportunity. So it was just one of the branches, and the branch manager asked me to come in and to help kind of improve the culture of the office. And so I kind of taught them these principles. So I talked to them about how stress can actually be a good thing. Most people think it's bad, but actually it can be a good thing. And if you know how to harness it well, it can actually.
That is the important thing, how to harness it.
Yeah, but there's a skill to how to harness it. People don't know how to harness it, so you how to harness it. So exactly what you said.
Yeah.
What is procrastination? A lot of times people think procrastination is bad time management. It's not. So we have to define procrastination. Why does that happen? You know, what causes people to not be happy at work? So we deal with that. Then we dealt with conflict resolution. So we dealt with all these different things. And I think, I mean, based on the feedback that I got from the branch manager, she was very happy and it's good. And I actually have another meeting with the Royal Bank, so it's kind of cool. So hopefully I can help them out some more.
That's nice.
But yeah, so I work with that, and I also work with a couple of organizations as well. And one of the best opportunities I found was when I had just graduated from my MBA and I was starting to work. I got a job opportunity to work at the Department of Justice, Government of Canada, and so that was awesome. Because
so how long did you work there, or are you still involved there?
No, that was just when I was living in Ottawa. Yeah, so because my grades were so good, it was easy to find work at that time, right? So it was really cool because I had a job opportunity. Can I say the names of the companies? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So so I had a job opportunity. I already said Government of Canada, so it's too late. So I had a job opportunity with Deloitte, and so they, my starting period was, in 3 months. So I had nothing to do. So I had a job offer at Government of Canada and Department of Justice. So it was really awesome experience. So I got to implement some things there, and I wasn't as familiar with some of the things, but my ability to kind of help. My job was to actually help the transfer of information from the legal department, so all the way from the police officers to the courts. So I had to figure out how to a more efficient way to send the information from one department to the other. So I had to have the right mindset and come up with some strategies and right after to do that. So that was good. And then after that, when I went to Deloitte, they really helped me harness my way of thinking. One of these things about these management consulting firms is they teach you how to think. And they teach you how to think well, and then they teach you how to articulate your thought at a very high level. So most times, when you have an idea or something you want to explain, these companies, these consulting firms, they teach you how to create storyboards, and they teach you how to use images and diagrams and figures to actually clearly convey your ideas. So when I teach more with ideas or pictures, images, graphs, charts, because most of us are visual learners. Right, yeah. So
that helps. So Salamaji, of course, for our viewers, last year there was what was it, Jubilee Games.
Yeah, I was just going to talk
So
about
that's where I met him first time, and of course, we were friends on the Facebook.
table tennis champion,
yeah.
right? I saw you. I saw you in Dubai. You're cleaning up there.
So of course, we were going to Dubai, but before the Canada team left, from here, so we had a kind of lecture from him, and I was wondering, why from Aleem. I was, very honest.
Even I was wondering why from me.
Exactly. So of course, once we got there, and of course, there he was, and I was shocked. I was blown away with his all those points and all his,
So
presentation.
Yeah, but like for me and for our viewers, what kind of help did you give to all these people in sports? Like you all went to Dubai. So what was your role there?
What was your role? Yeah.
Okay, so just one thing I would like to say that thank you for saying those nice things about me.
Oh.
But actually, it was me training you in something that was already done by the Aga Khan Council.
Okay.
So it wasn't my material.
Yeah.
In fact, Leila Remtila, she's the person that actually She spearheaded the whole thing, and her job was
Nice.
conflict resolution.
Right, conflict
training.
resolution.
Yes.
That was it.
Because you so many different people
Exactly.
and
Yes.
from all parts of
Yes.
the
Yeah.
world was getting together, and
Yeah.
then these things can happen.
Yeah,
It
so
can
she-
easily
yeah.
can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so she did all that hard work. My job was just to present.
Yeah.
So that was the
Yeah, like
answer
yeah,
to that
but if you don't present good,
Yeah.
so her material,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. So
Material
Yeah.
could be there, but the way you deliver,
Exactly.
that is the most important thing, I
Yeah.
think.
so then how was your experience?
Yeah.
Like all together, yeah.
So
Jubilee Games.
Yeah, in Dubai.
Yeah.
Oh boy, so it was excellent actually, and it was actually a really good experience. So I actually did something really interesting. I normally coach volleyball on a regular basis, but I have been coaching volleyball, international volleyball for I think about maybe 15, 20 years and playing it and everything like that.
Nice.
So I wanted a break. I wanted to go to Dubai, but I didn't want to
play.
coach in volleyball, right? So I said, what could I do? So a friend of mine, she said, there's this new sport. It's called throwball. So what is throwball?
Throwball, yeah.
But it originated in
in Southeast Asia.
yeah. So I was like, what is this sport?
Yeah.
So long story short, the team, they nicely invited me to help them coach. So I coached the girls from Calgary, and then the head coaches, the head coaches, they were already selected, and I wasn't involved. So they were already selected, and so as I was helping them here, they graciously asked me to help them in Dubai. And so I went to Dubai and I helped them there. So it was really interesting because I was actually learning the sport at the same time I was trying to teach it.
Teaching, wow.
So it was like homework. So and who throws the ball here? Who plays throw ball here? So thank God for YouTube.
Yeah.
So I went to YouTube and I would watch YouTube videos and I would try to see what's going on, and so I kind of figured out the strategy that way. But then also at the same time, some of these principles that I teach are the same. So we really worked on mindset. So how do you develop the mindset of a champion?
Yes,
Right? How
yes.
do you deal with adversity? How do you deal with if things don't go well?
Yeah.
So a lot of the girls. And the entire team was excellent, and I looked at the girls here in Calgary, in this city, and they made me so proud. They had a good attitude. They were, they played excellent, and even now, you would think that that tournament's over and everything. Even now, we still get along.
Yeah.
Everything is good.
You
Yeah.
develop friendship.
Yeah. So
That's
it was
amazing.
an excellent experience.
Yes, amazing. Of course, because I was there, as well.
Yeah.
Lifetime experience,
Yeah.
just amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, thanks for the good words regarding table tennis. But the, good team. They were Pakistan. They won mostly all the
Yeah.
medals in table tennis. Pakistan was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. This is
Yeah.
their game. Yeah.
Well, you know what? We should be grateful. Not grateful, but the Syrians.
Yes.
If the Syrians were there, they would have.
They would have won. Yeah, I know. Yeah. No doubt.
In 2008, I went to Nairobi.
Yes.
Coached our
And
volleyball
they
team
won
there,
everything.
and they beat the hell out of everyone. So.
Well, so of course, we learn from you. So there are so many, corporation they are learning, listening to you. So what about you? Where do you learn from?
Oh, good question.
Yeah,
I
where are
learned
you
from
getting your materials?
I learned from you.
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
You just, yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I learn. Okay, one thing about learning is that you can never know it all.
True.
So the thing is that I learn from interesting sources. So you have your traditional sources.
Right.
You have your books that you can read. You can go to lectures. You can read all that stuff. But the most valuable thing that you can actually, most valuable resource you can learn from is another person.
Yeah.
That's right.
And so I actually have, I have two nephews, and they're 5 years old, almost turning 6, and I learned so much from them.
Wow, that's awesome.
I have one nephew. He's fearless.
Yeah.
Does whatever he wants, and
Yeah.
I admire him. And he's only, at that time, he was only like 2 years old. So you can learn from everything. You
Everyone.
the key is you have to be humble enough
Yes.
to be able to know that, I don't know it all. And
yes.
and I think I'm just inquisitive. So I look at things and I try to understand things and all that. But to answer your question, I look at all things and I try to learn from
Whatever comes in
most
your way,
situations.
basically.
Yeah.
We got 2 minutes.
Yeah, we have. So I just want to talk to the audience and ask them how do you find these kind of
Yes,
talks and
yes,
discussions? and I'll talk a little bit about our program.
Yes,
event
please.
coming
Yes,
up.
yes, of course.
तो कैसा लग रहा है आप लोगों को हमारा शो? आप हमें ज़रूर फीडबैक दीजिएगा कि आपको इस तरह के शोज़ कैसे लगते हैं, और हमें फीडबैक में ये बताइए कि इस तरह के डिस्कशन से आप कुछ सीख सकते हैं, तो हम लोग इस तरह के लोगों को और बुलवाएंगे. हमारे प्रोग्राम जो होते हैं वो हर तरीके के होते हैं, सारे नए नए लोग, म्यूजिशियंस, मीडिया पीपल, कॉर्पोरेट पीपल, बहुत सारे इंफॉर्मेशन वाले लोग हम बुलाते हैं. तो आप हमें अपना फीडबैक ज़रूर दीजिएगा ताकि हमें भी पता चले कि आपको आज का प्रोग्राम कैसा लगा. उम्मीद है कि आपको इनके डिस्कशन से हमारे जो लोग देख रहे थे उनको बहुत कुछ सीखने को मिला होगा. और दूसरी बात हम आपसे ये करना चाह रहे थे कि हमारा इवेंट होने जा रहा है, जैसा कि आपको मालूम है कि वर्ल्ड पार्टनरशिप वॉक जो हर साल मई और जून के महीने में होती है, वो इट्स अपकमिंग इन जून ऑन जून 4th. और लेकिन हमारा जो इवेंट है वो 19 मई को, फ्राइडे 19 मई को होने जा रहा है, जो हम एक फंड रेजर है और जो कैलगरी में कोस्ट प्लाजा होटल में है, और जो एक ग्रैंड म्यूज़िक पार्टी और बैंक्वेट डिनर के साथ है. तो हम चाहेंगे कि आप ये अच्छे कॉज के लिए हमें ज़रूर हमारा साथ दें. जो लोग कैलगरी में भी देखते हैं ये प्रोग्राम, वो प्लीज़ ज़रूर हमसे टिकट लीजिए, जलाल से, मुझसे, और यहाँ पर काफ़ी लोगों के पास उनके टिकट होंगे, और आप हमसे रब्ता कायम कर सकते हैं थ्रू रेडियो सरसगम और थ्रू टीवी चक दे टीवी. तो आप ज़रूर हमसे ये टिकट लीजिए, क्योंकि जो सारा फंड रेजर होगा वो बहुत अच्छे कॉज के लिए होगा. हम लोग बहुत फॉर्चुनेट हैं, बहुत कुछ अल्लाह ने हमको दिया है. हम सारे दूसरे लोगों की मदद करें तो ये हमें ज़रूर करनी चाहिए. तो प्लीज़ आप याद रखिएगा 19 मई को रात के 8 बजे, फ्राइडे का दिन है. अपने कैलेंडर्स नोट कर लीजिए और हमसे टिकट लीजिए. इसका टिकट है $50 पर पर्सन, और सीनियर्स जो 65 प्लस हैं उनके लिए $40, और जो बच्चे हैं बिटवीन 5 and 12 उनका है $25. तो ये 3 कैटेगरीज हैं. लेकिन आप ज़रूर हम मिल के आइए और अच्छे कॉज के लिए हमें सपोर्ट कीजिए. और हम चाहते हैं कि आपका थोड़ा सा हिस्सा इस अच्छे कॉज के लिए जाए. तो उम्मीद है कि आज का आपको हमारा ये सेगमेंट अच्छा लगा होगा. हमारी गेस्ट अलीम नासर ने हमें बहुत अच्छी अच्छी बातें बताई, और उम्मीद है जो स्पेशली जो लोग इससे फ़ायदा हासिल करेंगे और ऐसे प्रोग्राम देखना चाहेंगे तो हमें ज़रूर अपना फीडबैक दीजिए. तो जलाल, हमारा वक्त हुआ
जी. बस ये ज़्यादातर बस मैं खाली जो अपना है ये कहूँगा कि यानी कि अपना बीइंग ह्यूमन, हम जानते हैं कि अपना जो है क्या सही है क्या गलत है. सो ऑलवेज डू द राइट थिंग, ऑलवेज डू द राइट थिंग. और लाइक यानी आज का जो हमारा डिस्कशन बहुत अच्छा था, आपको बहुत मोटिवेट करने के लिए क्या क्या करना चाहिए. अलीम वाज ऑसम, ही वाज वंडरफुल. सो यानी होपफुली हमारे जो है देखने वाले भी उनको थोड़ा जो फीडबैक हमें मिले ताकि आपको वी कैन गेट दैट.
So thank you, Aleem. It was really nice to have you on our show, and hopefully our audience has gotten good pointers from you. And hopefully we get the feedback that we would like to hear more from you.
Yes, we'll get you back again.
I would, yeah, anytime.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
और
Thank
आप
you.
हमें इजाज़त दीजिए. हमारी तरफ से सलाम, नमस्ते, या अली मदद, और उम्मीद है फिर मिलेंगे अगले हफ्ते. खुदा हाफिज़.
खुदा हाफिज़.